Good morning, GTS retail partners, and welcome to our continuing series of GTS retailer to publisher webinars. This webinar features our good friends at Paizo Publishing and Kobold Press. I am Scott Baur, your category manager for gaming specialty products, which includes role-playing games, miniatures games, and gaming accessories like dice and dice towers, all the fun stuff that goes along with accentuating your gaming experience. And today we have with us from Paizo Publishing, Cosmo, Eisele, and Mike Webb. And from Kobold Press, we've got Wolfgang Baur, the founder, as well as Alexander Stangroom and Kym Weller. So without further ado, I will go ahead and hand things over to Cosmo to get us started. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Cosmo. I'm with Paizo, and we are here with our friends from Kobold to show you some of the things we've got coming up this summer. And so without further ado, as soon as this thing gets going, there we go. Summer of 2022, summer of 2022. And we're going to get started with our upcoming rule books coming this summer. And one of the biggest deals that we've got coming this year is Pathfinder Dark Archive. Coming in July, the Pathfinder Dark Archive contains secrets that any player or GM can use to reveal the paranormal lurking in their Pathfinder game. This book is set up as a in-universe 8 files stolen from the Pathfinder Society on the paranormal aspects of the world of Golarion. Included in this book are 2 brand new classes for Pathfinder 2nd edition, the Psychic and the Thaumaturge. So let's take a look at some of those classes right off the bat. These are our 2 new iconics for this book. This on the left there, that is the Psychic. The Psychic is a spontaneous occult caster whose magic comes from a unique interplay of their conscious and subconscious mind. So, and you can, like everything in Pathfinder, you can build them in various ways. Do you see others' thoughts as precise ordered sequence, or do objects fly around when you experience strong feelings? You'll have a bevy of psycantrips to cast at will and amplify with focus points for extra power or versatility. And this is Thalion, our iconic psychic. Next to Thalion is the Thaumaturge. The Thaumaturge is a melee class, but they are also the collector, the quintessential collector of superstitions. The Thaumaturge is the one who's heard of this monster and has just the thing to fight them. This is Mios, our iconic Thaumaturge. As a young adult, Mios was driving their night coach on the streets of Ustalov when they were attacked by a creature and afflicted with a terrible curse. After hunting through rumors by the light of their coach's lantern, they managed to save themselves by piecing together a cure. And that's how the Thaumaturge works. You'll have a mystic implement to wield, along with a unique ability to identify and capitalize on an enemy's weakness. You can even further customize your character with supernatural tricks taken from all 4 magical traditions. And as I mentioned, this book is made up of 4 files on the paranormal stolen from the Pathfinder Society, including a file on secret societies. There's a file on cryptids. We've got new ancestries for players in the book, as well as maps of strange new locations. And for each file, there is an adventure at the end that actually involves that paranormal activity. And speaking of adventures, coming up this summer on the adventure side, we have the Blood Lords Adventure Path running from July through December. This follows the April release of the Book of the Dead, and this 6-part monthly campaign, the characters will rise from skilled troubleshooters to join the Blood Lords themselves. In the first adventure, the undead nation of Geb, which gains most of its international trade from an export of food grown on zombie-worked farms. But likely one farm has been the site of a series of strange occurrences. The heroes are dispatched to investigate the problems, and this starts the player characters on the adventure. That will bring them to the attention of the insidious bloodlords who rule the land in the name of their undead wizard king. And speaking of the undead wizard king, here's the man himself, the undead ghost wizard and namesake of the country, Geb. Over the course of the adventure path, the adventurers will work their way up through the undead power structure to eventually become bloodlords themselves, or die trying. And, you know, maybe then keep trying after that. This year is Paizo's 20th anniversary. And to celebrate, we're bringing back one of Paizo's very first published adventures, Crown of the Cobalt King. Coming in September, the town of Falcon's Hollow is no stranger to peril, yet the danger growing in the dungeons below a nearby ruin pose a threat that only a new band of heroes can face. There's ravenous undead, cunning kobolds, and sinister necromancers on the way. And this is the newly redesigned version of the Kobold King himself, using the second edition Kobold style that we launched with second edition. And this deluxe 128-page hardcover gathers 3 classic Pathfinder adventures into one compilation and expands them into a mini campaign and introduces a brand new dungeon level for the heroes to explore. It's completely updated to Pathfinder second edition, and it contains the original adventures Hollow's Last Hope, Crown of the Kobold King, and Hungry Are the Dead. This is an adventure for 1st to 6th level parties. And here's another look at our newly redesigned kobolds for second edition. This has been very popular, so much so that WizKids actually released 2 life-size foam replica kobolds, one red and one blue. This book also contains a full gazetteer of the lumber town of Falcon's Hollow, as well as 15 new magic items and other new treasures to follow. There's 8 classic monsters from the original adventures, which are brand new to Pathfinder second edition, including here the Siona and Kira battling some Vargulils, which make their debut in Crown of the Kobold King, which also will be releasing with a flip mat and as well as a deluxe edition. Moving on, let's take a look at some of the things coming up in the Lost Omens campaign setting. So Eric Mona, our CCO publisher, has this saying that he loves and repeats it often when he's announcing new titles. When customers tell you that they want to buy something, it's usually a good idea to make it and then sell it to them. And thus is the case with the deluxe editions of our Lost Omens campaign setting books. People loved our deluxe editions on the rules, and they said, hey, we've got these hardcovers on Lost Omens. We want special editions of those as well. And so we are re-releasing our most popular Lost Omens books starting in July with the Lost Omens World Guide, followed in August with the Lost Omens Character Guide, and then Gods and Magic in September, and October will bring Lost Omens Legends to the special edition. But we've got some new books coming too, and coming in August. And speaking of Pathfinder fan requests, we bring you the Lost Omens Travel Guide. This book is your companion to the culture, life, and inns and sights of the Inner Sea, and it guides you through a variety of topics of interest. It brings the world itself to life. And fans, as well as a good number of the Pathfinders of the Paizo staff, have long wanted more details on the day-to-day life in the Inner Sea. So with this book, you can learn about Inner Sea cuisine, art. You can experience the thrills of Inner Sea sports, uncover the secrets of Inner Sea myths and magic. And here we have an in-depth analysis of how various cultures dress for various occasions. We also have some famous landmarks to go visit in your travels. And the travel guide also features dozens of illustrations to show you the fine details of the latest fashion, or to put you at the center of one of the Inner Sea's greatest festivals. In this picture here, we have the Swallowtail Festival, which features prominently in the first volume of the very first adventure path, Rise of the Rune Lords, as well as Goblin Firework Fight. This book brings the world of Golarion to life and features countless story hooks and character ideas for both GMs and players alike. You've got in-universe games and locations where your character can make or possibly lose some extra gold, and plenty of items and player options to bring to every Pathfinder game. And speaking of items, let's take a look at some of the accessories we've got coming up this summer. We have coming in August, the Pathfinder Book of the Dead battle cards. Battle cards have become a very popular accessory for us. The way they work is you have our awesome art on one side, and then on the other side, you've got all the systems needed to run that monster. So you can hold it up and show your players what they're fighting against, and then have everything you need to run that character on the other side. And then in November, we have the Pathfinder Abomination Vaults battle cards, which supports the April release of the Abomination Vaults collected adventure. Flip mats still remain to be one of our hottest sellers and most useful accessories. We've got Flip Mat Classics Theater coming in July. We've got Flip Tiles, which are smaller, coming in August, and then in September with the Crown of the Kobold King and Planar Tavern. But let's take a look at what we've got coming in Starfinder, including some upcoming Starfinder releases. We released the Starfinder Core Rulebook in Pocket Edition at Gen Con of 2020. And now, following success, as well as, once again, fan requests, we're bringing the rest of the Starfinder RPG Core rulebooks to this fan favorite format. Starting in June, we have the Alien Archive, and then in July, we'll have Pact Worlds coming to Pocket Edition, followed by Armory in August, and of course, Alien Archive 2 comes in September. Coming this month, the Drift Crisis. In a catastrophic instant, travel through the faster-than-light Drift Realm fails, and travelers vanish mid-flight, communications get scrambled, and the Drift's progenitor god Triune falls mysteriously silent. In the aftermath, empires cling to their far-flung holdings, opportunists are exploiting the chaos, and everyone demands to know what triggered this Drift crisis and how can they solve it. This book constitutes a world event for the entire Starfinder role-playing game. It will affect all of the Starfinder campaign setting going forward. It provides a starting point as well as a meta story for all of Starfinder, and the Drift Crisis hardcover rulebook and setting guide details this massive galaxy-wide event and introduces a vast array of new conflicts. Players will find the latest technologies and techniques for surviving the upheaval with new gear and character options. You've got influential factions that are possibly trying to restore order, or maybe profit on the wreckage, or even just perpetuating the pandemonium. This is an event that will be affecting Starfinder going forward, and you can experience the Drift Crisis with 20 detailed adventure seeds that range from survival to saving the galaxy, and those all come in Starfinder Drift Crisis coming out this month. So let's talk about adventures on the Starfinder side. And of course, Drift Crasher's Adventure Path. The Drift Crisis has begun. And when the drift crashes, all the starships in it are hurled to random locations in the multiverse. And among these starships is the Maratha, whose crew find themselves stranded in hell. Their starship is now boasting a strange new artifact with the power to travel anywhere in space and time. And soon they're literally running from the devil. They're crashing through parallel universes. They're coming face to face with strange versions of themselves. And finally, they're reaching an apocalyptic future where everyone they know is dead. And will they ever find their way home again? And thus begins the Drift Crisis Adventure Path, Starfinder's first experience with the Drift Crisis. There's a 3-volume adventure path that runs from June through October and will take Starfinders from level 1 through level 6 or 7. So once again, a great jumping on point for Starfinder. Now, one of the strengths of Starfinder is the ability to tell different types of stories and to have different types of adventures. So coming in July is a great example of one of those, the Redshift Rally. It's the 20th anniversary of the Absalom Run Starship Race, and to celebrate, the organizers have greatly expanded the event and the prize money. When an accident in the qualifying heat takes an accomplished pilot out of the race, the heroes must step in to help starship manufacturer Redshift Revolution against the machinations of their dastardly competitor, Terminator. So in this series of rallies over land, across sea, and through the air, the heroes will face off against alien threats, try to win over the media, and most importantly, beat the Terminator racers across the finish line. Now, this is you get the idea. Redshift Rally drops in July. And in September, the now legendary first Starfinder Adventure Path comes back in a collected Dead Suns Adventure Path hardcover. And there will be a special edition version of this releasing at the same time. Starfinder also has our famous maps. In May, the Drift Crisis flip mat will be supporting the book. Then in July, Star Knight Starships. And finally, Starfinder flip mat Space Station Promenade comes in September. I've been Cosmo, and with me is the Vice President of Sales and E-commerce, Mike Webb. And we have a little bit of time here before I need to turn it over to Kobold. So are there any questions for Paizo? We can field them now, or we can take some questions at the end as well.
I have one question, but I want to see if the sales team has questions first. So I'll leave it open for them first, and then we'll jump in there. I'm not seeing anything in the chat. Let's see. So my question is back to the Abomination Vaults battle cards.
Yes, sir.
I know that there's a 5th edition version of Abomination Vaults also in the planning. Are you looking to do, or will the card support both versions, or is it primarily
the rules?
Pathfinder 3?
The rules information on the back of the card is going to be for Pathfinder 2nd edition, and it really depends on the success of both the Abomination Vaults battle cards as well as the Abomination Vaults 5th edition book coming later this year, as to whether we'll look at doing 5th edition versions of the Abomination Vaults battle cards. So the rules content on the back of the cards is Pathfinder 2nd edition. However, of course, the images are going to be very useful to have the hold up for the 5th edition players as well.
Yeah, certainly the artwork would be system agnostic, but the data on the back is the core issue. Okay, cool.
Correct.
Is the Drift Crisis planning, is that world setting a persistent world setting for an extended period of time, or is it primarily you have the Drift Crisis book and then the associated adventure pack that goes with it?
This will be affecting all future. This will be an event that happens in the world that will be affecting all future Starfinder releases going forward.
Okay, cool. So it's a lore effect.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
Right. And are there any other questions? As I vamp for just a few seconds to make sure Kym is ready to roll. Looks like Kym's ready to roll. Excellent. Well, then I will happily stop my share and turn the reins over to our friends from Kobold. Take her away.
I apologize in advance. My computer's making a weird noise. So it should be fine, but I'm going to get started. I'm actually going to let Wolfgang start.
Sure.
Here, and here we go.
All right. Hi, I'm Wolfgang Baur. I'm the founder and publisher at Kobold Press, and I'm joined here by Kym, our sales manager, and Alexander, our director of operations. We're going to talk to you about Q2 and Q3, and maybe we'll sneak into Q4. But first, we're going to talk about the evergreens. just a bit, because of course this is the first thing people pick up when they pick up Kobold Press products at their stores. Tome of Beast, Creature Codex, Tome of Beast 2, these are the thin edge of the wedge. Monster manuals for 5th edition. The Creature Codex in hardcover is temporarily out of stock, but the good news I have there is it's coming back in stock in June. So the reprint is well on its way, and we should be seeing it by the end of June. In addition, of course, there are the pocket editions, which are exactly the same content, half the price, for stores that are more space constrained, for retailers who are looking, just to try something out like these monster books. You'll find pocket editions move rather quickly. We always have great success with those at Gen Con and other occasions. Here's a sampling of the art from those books. One of the clockwork automatons, the snake with 100 mage hands, and that hideous suppurating ooze thing. Yeah, it's an ooze. It looks like an undead, but yuck. It's disgusting and delightful, and it's just a sample of monster art from those books. Of course, in addition to monsters, Kobold Press is all about magic for 5th edition. Our 2 titles here, Deep Magic in hardcover and pocket edition, subclasses, spells, new priestly domains, a big chunk on familiars, and magic for the bad guys in the appendix, void magic, blood magic, something for everyone, 700 new spells. There's a sample of the interior art. And where is our vault? Vault of Magic, which of course came out for the holidays last year, was a nice hit around Christmas. And the fabled items and other items within it are easy to add to any 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign. There's a nice set of tables at the back of Vault of Magic that I always like to point out. They combine the magic items from the core rules for 5th edition plus the Vault of Magic Vault of Magic selection into one set of tables and charts. So game masters just roll once and can get an item either from Vault or from the core rules for 5th edition D&D. There's also items in here by people like Patrick Rothfuss and Luke Gygax.
If you're paying attention to the timeline, you'll notice that the Vault of Magic Pocket Edition has come out sooner than traditionally our pocket editions have. We tend to do like 12 months between the hardcover and that. This one has come out, I think we're about 6 months from the hardcover, and is already, doing.
What was the ship date on Vault of Magic Pocket? Wasn't it just
Vault of Magic Pocket?
Can we go back a
it's May.
It's this month.
It's this month, yeah.
It's technically a new release.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, Vault of Magic Pocket.
It is out and available now. And
I've been pretending it's an evergreen, Kym, but it's new.
I keep forgetting that it's only May now. So sorry.
What is time?
What is time?
It's a wonderful way to get Vault of Magic for people who didn't pick it up during the holidays. That pocket edition out this month. All right, I think that's it for... No, wait, we have one more set of evergreens, and I love talking about this one.
It's turning. Give it a moment. I promise.
I know what it is. I think
it was there. There it is.
The Cobalt Guides. So there are, in fact, many Cobalt Guides, 8 in all, and they have won ENnie awards and Origin awards, and at $20 for a trade paperback size softcover, they give you a huge download of information by people, expert designers, expert novelists, people who have been doing this for years. And the Cobalt Guide to World Building is a new release as well. It came out in April. And with writers like, Veronica Roth, New York Times bestselling Veronica Roth. Gail Simone contributed, Keith Baker of the Eberron setting. It's amazing.
Again, another New York Times bestseller.
Hugo Nebula award winning. Yeah. We took about 6 years to get volume 2 of the Guide to World Building because the first one was so good It's still in print. Don't let the fact that it's not shown here confuse you. Cobalt Guide to World Building Volume 1 got a reprint in April to go along with the release of Volume 2. So both are available. We highly recommend these. Kobold Guide to Monsters, of course, is our release from last April, also rather new on the shelves, and Game Mastering, very much an evergreen. The Kobold Guide to Board Game Design is the Origins winner. It has been in print now for 6 years or more, for good reason, and is used to teach college classes on the topic. So yes, I can highly recommend all the Kobold Guides, and you'll find them in stock.
All right.
All right, Kym, take us away with new releases.
We'll go into a summer and a tiny little sneak peek into fall and potentially what we have for you guys at the end of the year. We are releasing Tome of Heroes in July. Tome of Heroes is a hardcover for you. And we are, for the very first time ever, putting our limited edition covers into distribution. So this will be the very first time that we have done this. They are 2 foil stamped leather covers. As you can see here, it is beautiful.
It's even shinier.
It's so shiny. These pictures never, ever do justice to any of our limited edition covers. No matter artwork, never does. The actual JPEGs never do anything justice. So it is exact replica with some fancy cover there. So let's see. Let's take a tiny peek into what's going on inside. One of the things that we're debuting in this book, not the only thing we're debuting in this book, but one of the things we are debuting in this book is the gunpowder rules for us, and ways that your characters can play with gunpowder. So Tome of Heroes is a player's handbook with a whole bunch of new and different ways for players to play different types of characters. One here is the gun mage, which is just so cool, I think. The art here in the middle, the one in the middle, is the black powder cleric. So we introduce a bunch of new domains and subclasses for different races here, or different classes here. This one is really cool because I am a big cleric player, and you can imbue your weapon to be explosive when you throw them at people.
You could imbue any object.
anything, and throw it at them. So it's just so fantastic. The one on the end here is a Circle of Ash Druid. It also kind of plays into that smoke and powder feel that we've kind of been talking, we're releasing in this book specifically. Tome of Heroes has rules for all, new rules for all the character races, subclasses. There's weapon options, spells, new equipment, magic rules, and so many other fantastic things.
Downtime rules for 5th edition.
Yeah. And maybe some monks that you might not have seen from us before. I know that that's something we haven't really what's the word I'm looking for? Have gone into.
Unfortunately, Wolfgang kept saying no, but we managed to hold him down. And
I'm not a fan of monks, but I got overruled. Everyone else said, let's do some. And they are terrific. I have to give the designers credit. Some wonderfully inventive monks. This is sort of a way of water monk, but
and
yes.
There's just so many different new things that you can include into your 5th edition game. And there's, as typical of Kobold Press, there's just so much amazing art inside, and it just gives you all these different options, and helps me think about how it's going to play out. So people are going to be really excited about this one.
And this is going to be one of our big titles going forward, because as Deep Magic is to spells and as Vault of Magic is to magic items, Tome of Heroes is to characters and character options.
Yeah, this will become one of our evergreen titles going forward. So in August, we have our Book of Ebb and Tithes. here is another fantastic limited edition cover here. This one, again, the picture does it no justice, is a 2-foil stamp of purple and gold, and it is just, I cannot wait to see it. It's going to be gorgeous.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen the advanced copy. I can't even. Yes.
So it's going to be available for distribution for those stores who are looking for their collectors. You know, we do know that they exist, and I think we finally decided to hop on the train here and see how it goes, and hopefully it goes well. I think it will, and I hope you all do too. So Book of Ebb and Tides has some really awesome things going on inside of it. They have it has a new planar adventure setting, player support, DM support.
Well, I mean, first of all, it's the Plane of Shadow, right?
And,
it is a setting book, and it has we'll get to it in a minute, a complementary set of adventures, but the whole thing is structured as welcome to the Plane of Shadows. Any campaign that has you can step through from your Waterdeep realms to the Plane of Shadow at any time and start a new adventure and jump back to the mainline realm. So it's a little like planar adventuring. And yeah, here are 3 of the one monster and 2 heroic races.
There's some great heroes here, an insight as to some of the monsters and the roaming monsters that are going to be you're going to run into. Here's some of the fantastic internal art here, a Shadow Goblin. So like Wolfgang was saying, you'll get to visit the Fey Courts and investigate the ebb and flow of the shifting shadow stuff beneath your feet. And what I really like about it, as Wolfgang also says, is that you can step in and out. And this also will include 52 new spells, races, 10 subclasses, monsters, NPCs, magic items that you don't see in our other monster books. We just can't get enough of them. You know, we just can't get enough of magic. We have so much stuff, so we just keep putting out fantastic new types of monsters and subclasses and all of those kinds of things, and setting them into settings like this one.
This one's super high fantasy. I mean, as you can see here, it's very Fey oriented, and it's very high magic. So for people looking to get away from grimdark or gritty fantasy and play something sort of more epic and plains hopping, Book of Ebb and Tides is that for 5th edition. It probably appeals to the same people who like the Feywild or the Shadowfell, to choose something from 5th edition lore, right? It's in that direction, and we'll expand any of those people's.
We've got a couple of fantastic principal designers on this. Celeste Konowich, well known within the sphere, having worked on various titles, including titles, who's now come on board as our senior game designer. There is somebody, helping called Wolfgang Baur.
Oh, right. I remember. That's why I can't be quiet about this one. I just love this was a little bit of a passion project. I started doing Plane of Shadow stuff back in the Gygax days, and I opened my notebook one day and said, why don't we? So that's where this comes from. But there's a second half to this, which I had much less to do with. I laid the groundwork for the plane and the races and the monsters, but here it is, Tales from the Shadows, also coming in August. It's our first hardcover collection like this of short adventures, about 192 pages, beautiful cover, and edited by John Joseph Adams, Hugo and Nebula award-winning editor. The art is just strong and creepy throughout, in that Fey and Shadow style. And the writers here include, Celeste and all of Kobold Press's best adventure designers.
Yeah, so there's one of the things that I love about Tales from the Shadows is it's 14 adventures for levels 1 to 8, but it's not this is the one that can go in order or not in order, right? So
it is a full campaign.
It is a full campaign, but it doesn't have to be, and that's what's really fantastic. Kobold Press is very well known for their drop-in adventures. This has some really cool storylines. One of the things that I really enjoy about this one is that there's like a background plot surrounding a shadow grimoire that is very creepy. The stories are so cool. I started in preparation for this and to pull some beautiful map art. I read one of the adventures and got to kind of really understand how fantastic this is. One of them, I didn't show you which one it's from, but it is a clip of the map from an adventure that was written by John Sawatsky that includes the Shadow Grimoire and the background story that surrounds it, which we really, really enjoy. Each one of the adventures has at least one color map, but sometimes more, because there are 28 full color maps and so many illustrations inside this that the customers are going to love. So not only are we doing a source book and adventure book, we are also doing dice for Book of Ebon Tides to go into distribution. So this is a high quality set of seven high quality resin dice that are really awesome because they're based, the design is based around the book itself. So the high number of every single dice is this fantastic moon with a star that is very Book of Ebon Tides fantasy, very much based around the storyline itself. Anything else, gentlemen, before I move on?
I love the dice.
Yeah, oh man.
It's worth mentioning that they are single color dice with a single color fill, and they are engraved, not screen printed.
Yes, engraved icons, and it's very exciting. To keep in the tradition of our evergreens having pocket editions, we will be doing a pocket edition for Tome of Heroes. And as we had mentioned before with Vault of Magic, you'll see that this one has come out just almost as quick as that one. So we release Tome of Heroes in September or in July, and the pocket edition will be available in September. And as we know how pocket editions work for us is that they're the exact same thing from big to small, and easy for people if they don't want to if they don't want to buy
portable,
if they're looking for the portable one, a little bit lighter, want to travel, things along those lines. So this is up to September, and I'm going to give you, since it's already known project, we're going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek of the holiday release, but just a little bit, not everything. Our final Beast book will come out in November. This is the hardcover regular basic copy, but also, again, the fantastic limited edition will go into distribution with this great red. I'm dying. The red is so great with the 2 printed foil again, and it's all going to be that shiny and really look like collectors are going to want it, and it's pretty fantastic.
The foil, yeah, we're still looking at samples, but it's coming together beautifully. Probably the best foil we've done on a Tome of Beasts, which of course is our best-selling series. So Tome of Beasts 3, we're expecting just a massive response, and getting the limited edition out to retailers into distribution is a huge deal for us here. But there's more, right? It's not just Tome of Beasts.
It's not just Tome of Beasts in the book. But here's some, I'm just going to say here's some fantastic little bits of art in here. You know,
this was Torch Mimic.
It's the Torch Mimic. This jellyfish that's consistently, I forget what this thing is called. It's called the Coastline Reaper.
That's DJ Skelly Jelly.
It's DJ, well, because I was going to call it DJ Skelly Jelly, but that is not its name. It is the Coastline Reaper. Thank you. And the Husker here on the end. So these are, this was our most successful Kickstarter. So it is one of the biggest projects we've done in a very long time. And it's so exciting with another 400 monsters inside this book for 5th edition, which gives our total to 1,600 plus monsters in these books alone, which is really awesome. And they have the monsters arranged in the back by type, challenge, rating, and terrain, just like we've done. So, but not the only exciting thing in this group. We are doing a layers for the Tome of Beasts 3, and this will be our first hardcover layers that we've done. In previous layers, we've done soft covers for our Beast books. So there are 23 standalone single map adventures featuring the monsters that you see in the book. And
the designers of each of those monsters, right?
Yeah, so the designers of each of those monsters have actually written those stories themselves and set everything up because it's their monster and their inspiration. So they got to take that layer and build it into what they wanted it to be. So there's such a personalized touch on that story. These are, again, standalone, as Kobold Press is known for, that you can plop it in, plop it out, put it in a story, put it in a whole run of adventures. It doesn't have to be.
Can be a one shot.
Exactly.
We got excited, and the page, because we've got designers really engaged in what they're doing, bringing their monsters to life. So the page count hit 176, and it was very clear that this needed to be a hardcover, both in terms of just logistical capability of like keeping the pages together, but also this sort of elevates it to a slightly more premium product than a 62-page softcover.
Right. So again, not only did we do this, but we have some accessories that we did. So I'm going to correct myself, as Alexander corrected me. The dice are acrylic, not resin. I thought I had changed it and I didn't. So this is the Tome of Beast 7 dice set, which is based as the same as the Book of Tithes dice. But what I like about these ones is the Bone Lord is the highest number on each die. So as you see, the Bone Lord that's right there on the cover is he's just so amazing. The art in here is so fantastic, and the our graphic designer who designed the dice had taken a personal touch to it, and it just really feels like you're immersed into the game. As well as pawns are going into distribution, so we know that how we do pawns here, and there will be 300 pawns inside this book that go from small to huge, and it will be the character art for each monster. So you're not getting anything that is second rate here. It's just the art of the monsters are fantastic.
And it's a nice selection with a couple of duplicates for things that come in groups, right? So usually it's one of each of the gigantics, but for little mob monsters, you get 2 or 3 in some cases.
Exactly.
One of the monsters on the cover there at the back on the right-hand side is the Necrotech Thunderer, and it is an undead elephant where the top half of the skull has been taken away and replaced by a magical ballista. I think if you need more than one of those, you might want to dial down the magical items that you're giving your party. But,
yeah.
Or congrats to you, your campaign is epic. You'll need 2 sets of pawns, 2 pawn packages.
So there's definitely a lot of fantastic things for your store owners to grab onto and use to sell these products, which is really exciting. So I'm going to skip to my question slide here. I'm sure Wolfgang, Alexander, and I would be willing to answer any questions you have. And then here's our contact information if you need us.
All right, excellent content. The artwork is amazing on these products. I'm really excited about the Tome of Heroes and the Book of Tithes look particularly cool.
It was the hardest thing for me to choose what pieces of art to show everyone.
Yeah.
It is one of the hardest things. It's something we do so well here.
No, it's an embarrassment of riches. So you just have to, whatever choice you make is the right choice. So you're all good.
All right. If you've got questions.
While we wait for sales reps to chime in with their questions, I noticed, and I'm really glad to see that the alternate covers are coming to distribution for the new items. Is there any chance that we'll see alternate cover editions available of the older items? Some of the other, like the classic books, or
that's a great question. And those were limited editions at the time, so we're certainly not going to reprint them as they were.
Right.
And it's unlikely we're going back to some of them, but it's an interesting idea, and I think I'm just going to leave it at that.
Right. Yep. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as it was for the Kickstarter people or anything like that, but subtle variations, some different colors and design work would not go amiss. I don't think. We've seen some success on other on other vendors who do the similar.
Oh, we know
similar
Paizo's special editions have been fantastic, and
Yeah.
the scuttlebutt is they see a nice. I mean, retailers who pick them up, they find homes, right? Those collectors are out there.
Yeah,
So
they are.
At some point, we realized we were perhaps foolish for not offering them in distribution.
So Ben's asked a question. What level and how many characters is Tales from the Shadows for? So Tales from the Shadows is a selection of 14 adventures that run for character levels 1 through 8. And again, they can be played independently or together as a sort of a meta.
They cover the full range of the Plane of Shadows, and the reason we stopped at level 8 for Tales from the Shadows is at 8th level you're ready to pick up the mid-tier adventure from Kobold Press called Courts of the Shadow Fae, which goes from, I believe, 8 to 11 or 8 to 12.
I think it's 8 to 12.
Yeah, maybe it's 8 to 12. So it kind of leads you right to the doorstep.
In terms of length of play for those adventures, are they sized so that stores could use them as an in-store campaign, or are they usable for kind of like convention settings, or what's the timeline?
They're short enough to run in a 4-hour slot if you're pretty tight with it. I don't think they would work on a 2-hour slot. Most of them are there's too much role playing. Even the fact that they're 1 or 2 map adventures, they're pretty juicy, but they're just about one shots. And yeah, I think they could be used for in-store play.
Okay, so the Tome of these 3 layers seems like it would be like a shorter encounter or a shorter adventure, maybe 2 hours.
Yeah, those are shorter than the Tales from the Shadows are, and are meant to go pretty quickly, 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, they're more. If I had to describe them, they're more like set pieces than.
They're the boss battle, or like the boss battle or end of dungeon kind of thing.
Right, and they're very much featuring one of those monsters from Tome of Heroes 3. So it's all about highlighting that creature, giving it some minions, leading up to it. Yeah, they can certainly fit as drop-ins and one-offs, like the Prepared series, or our recent release, Warlock Lairs Into the Wilds, which again, very short and sweet.
Yeah, those were going to be my suggestion too. If you're looking for those, if your store owners are looking for those drop-in adventures to run, Warlock Lairs Into the Wilds is an amazing one, and that was just released last quarter. So it's definitely a good, right? Last quarter, yeah. So it's definitely a good one to try and push to them for sure.
Excellent. Are the Layers series organized by level of encounter, or is it more like a threat level kind of arrangement?
Well, I mean, we try to have something for everyone from sort of starting to about level 10 to 12. I think Warlock Lairs pushes up to 12 or 13. The Tome of Heroes 3 layers, I believe,
goes up to 12.
12 as well.
Oh, yeah.
So they're not meant for high level play. We think the audience for that is probably a little too small, but once in a while we put in things ranging up to 12. Whereas Tales from the Shadows, we're trying to keep to that 1 through 8 sweet spot where most campaigns are set.
Yeah, great for introductory adventures or for getting people an experience in the game.
That's one of the things that I love about them so much. I say it all the time, but it's just there's one so short and so easy for a new GM to even run.
All right, I'm not seeing any additional questions, and we are kind of up against the clock. So I want to honor everybody's time and say thank you very much for, again, being patient as we work through our technical difficulties. Thank you for being here and sticking to it. We really appreciate it. Appreciate the relationship with both Kobold Press and Paizo Publishing, 2 very important vendors for us. So we're really happy to have you here. Look forward to the next one, hopefully in Q3. We'll get you guys back in here. And other than that, have a great day. Have a great rest of your week, as short as it is. So take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Once again, GTS retail partners, we're so glad you were here for our continuing series of the retailer to publisher webinars provided by GTS. Kobold and Paizo both have a lot of really great stuff coming up. Excited about all the new materials coming from them. And we do want to make sure that you're aware of upcoming vendor webinars with us as well, both on the board game side, the RPGs and miniature side, as well as supplies. So make sure you like and subscribe, and that'll make sure you get all the information as we go forward. Well, thank you very much for being here. And until next time, we'll see you again.